Hello everybody and welcome back for some VR First Impressions, where I continue my journey of trying to find some must-play VR games. Now I'm really excited for today's episode because we're jumping into a bunch of truly unique games, and this includes titles that you recommended like Shogun and Freeland, plus some titles I've been waiting a long time for like Overseer, and a mixed reality real-time strategy game. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by Fast Travel Games and CM Games for the upcoming PlayStation VR 2 release of their absolutely phenomenal horror-themed survival title, Into the Radius. On September 19th, PlayStation VR 2 owners will finally get to experience this hardcore shooter that is absolutely beloved by both the Quest and psvr communities. It features over 20 hours of highly immersive, survival-themed action. Everything from its extremely creepy atmosphere to the storytelling, highly immersive mechanics, and combat are all top-notch. Now, the PlayStation VR 2 version is also being enhanced with those head haptics, adaptive triggers, and 3D audio. So if you're currently in the market for a highly immersive new PlayStation VR 2 game, I definitely recommend you check out Into the Radius. Okay, so let's start this video off with Freeland VR, which is a title that you guys keep recommending. Every time I live stream, people like play Freeland, and I also see it in a lot of my videos, like these type of videos. Now, I don't know if that's their promotional team or people who work on the game, or maybe the community who's pushing it, because honestly, I didn't really hear anything about it except from you guys, and I'm generally in the know. So I did jump in, and my experience is extremely mixed. So Freeland aims to be a mix between a social application like VR chat, plus a brand new online MMO. You'll go on missions and explore different worlds. There's a leveling system and tons of weapons and items to unlock. Now this all sounds good, but in practice, it wasn't a great experience. It suffers from all the issues I've seen in previous MMOs. Plus, I thought the game was just dreadfully ugly, which I can always get past. If it's fun, I don't care if it's ugly. But yeah, this was not a looker, even on psvr, which is what I was playing on. And the whole world just kind of felt like that empty fakeness that you get from an MMO. Walk over to a character, pick up a quest, go over and shoot a couple guys in the face. And then you see when you are fighting guys, you get that typical MMO, not super responsiveness, animations are lost, it feels like you get hit out of nowhere, enemies kind of glide across the floor. Now listen, I will say the game is still like early development. Another thing that I noticed right off the bat, in the very beginning, I was ejected from the spaceship during like the intro tutorial. So yeah, so that wasn't fantastic. It also just like doesn't really introduce you to the mechanics or anything. So I understand they could change all that over time, but it's really like, we're not going to hold your hand, figure it out. Fine. Now, I will say, I think some people will get into this game. There's a very weird form of addiction in MMO style titles like this. When you wrap the whole social aspect into it, I could definitely see people enjoying this long term if there is enough content. And honestly, this is the type of game I would need to give like 5 to 10 hours before I could actually do any sort of review, but that's not what these videos are about. This of course is just a first impression after an hour or so, and I'm pretty sure this game is not for me, but it does show some potential. And if you guys want me to keep checking in on this game as it continues to develop, please let me know down in the comments. Now next up, we have an experience I enjoyed a bit more, and that's the beta release of the mixed reality fighting title Guardian of Realms. This is from the same studio that gave us Swordsman VR, and now we get to take out some enemies in our own real-life environments. In its current state, it's quite simplistic. There's only a sandbox and survival mode, and only 2 different enemy types, but they do have plenty of future content planned, and even better, this game will have full mod support. Now, I actually was impressed at how well it maps to your room, how you have like no roof and you could see into this much bigger environment. It was really cool, and it shows off mixed reality really well. Also, there was some cool collisions, like you can actually slam enemies against the wall or knock them back out of a window. So I think, you know, they're doing a really good job showing off the technology. It's just shallow in its current state. But what I really want to see someone do, and that's all I was thinking is once I jumped into this, is mixed reality reskinning. So like, it was a little weird to have a computer desk in the corner while I'm fighting medieval warriors and beholders. If you could just reskin, like that was a fireplace and the ground is cobblestone, that would be amazing. So do that. Now, as we continue on this list, the games actually get better and better. The next one is a mixed reality tower defense / RTS game. Forticasa is the type of game I've been waiting for. You'll build out your base and all of its defenses in your own actual room, and then little robots will start invading through portals, determined to destroy everything you've made. So this is definitely a bit more tower defense than RTS. However, base building is extremely important. Like, you could decide to put your main base on a piece of furniture, something that your room scale has found, a table or something. And this will limit the access that guys have to it because they can't climb your furniture. They have to find portals and teleport near your base. So that's a strategic move that you can make. You can also kind of build some fences to rope them into different directions. You also need to decide, when do you make a laboratory so you can get access to bigger weapons? You know, when can you drop the bigger towers? Because you're eventually going to need much stronger turrets. The first few rounds you can get by with just a few machine guns, but you can't just keep laying out machine guns. They're not going to be strong enough. So you got to make a lot of strategic decisions. There's also like extractors to build so you could get more money, but then, you know, you also need to defend them. So I thought it was really well done, and it's still, you know, not a super robust title, but I really enjoyed it. Thought it was really cool. It'd be cool on a tabletop or just your floor. Now, next up, we have Shogun's Empire, a game you guys recommended to me, and thank you very much for this one. This is a turn-based Total War style game set in Japan during the 1500s. Now, the first thing that actually caught my attention was the graphics. They're actually quite good. The staging area where you build up your armies, perform diplomatic negotiations, or declare war looks way better than it actually needs to, and just immediately immerses you in this world. Now, when you get into the battles themselves, I was still actually pretty impressed. Generally on the quest, when you get into anything large scale, resolution goes to crap, but no, that wasn't the case here. Yeah, it's definitely not one of the best looking games, but it's definitely good enough to highlight the turn-based combat, which is also awesome. So you'll build up an army consisting of different warriors. This includes things like archers, swordsmen, pikemen, cavalry, you name it. Each unit has its own strength and weaknesses, and overall strategic asset on the battlefield. This is again the type of gameplay I love that ropes me in, where you just kind of forget about time and you just keep playing. And you're like, oh, I'll do one more war, one more battle. Let me just build a castle here. Let me do some diplomatic negotiations. Let's just, let's do one more month processing, see where I am on gold, stuff like that, and see how good my empire is doing. It's actually a fantastic title. It sucks you right in. Yeah, it's probably not as robust as Total War that you're going to get on flat screen, but in this case, I think seeing it from a VR perspective actually works really well here. Just being able to look down in the battlefield, survey everything. I was sold. You guys, excellent recommendation. If you are someone who enjoys turn-based strategy games with the war theme, solid title, really, really good. You can't get anything else like this in VR. And I'm surprised, like, there was no big to do about this game. I guess it's the genre that doesn't get a lot of popularity, but holy crap, this was done well. But let's move on to one more title. And finally, we have a game that I was really eager to jump into, and that's Underworld Overseer. Now, this title reminds me a lot of the old school flat screen game Dungeon Keeper from back in the 90s. You basically utilize goblins to build out a base for you, recruit an array of different warriors, make sure to attend to their needs like food and sleep, and then defend your base from waves of incoming humans. While you can set up traps and do have an array of spells to help defend yourself, this plays out a lot more like a real-time strategy game than a tower defense title. Now, this is also one of those games where time just seems to fly by while you're playing. Some of the early levels only take like 10-15 minutes to complete, but in reality, it feels like 30 seconds went by. Now, this is just like what happens when I play Demio, even though those two titles aren't very similar. You just get sucked into the action, and the next thing you know, the battery in your quest is almost dead. Now, I know this isn't the blockbuster style of game that we've been looking for from VR lately. However, this is a genre we don't typically get, and I thought the game was extremely fun. I really got into it. Great game, something like I was looking for. However, the one thing I was curious about is this doesn't necessarily feel like a VR game, or I don't feel like there's anything VR specific to it. Like, there's no mechanics that really make it shine in VR. Sure, you could grab some spells and throw them at enemies, and it's cool to like pick up your guys and look at them real close and get down to the ground and kind of explore things, get a really like nice viewpoint of the action. I also love the art style. I think the graphics are fantastic. However, there's not much VR to it. Maybe something later in the game, but the first, let's say 5 or so levels that I played, yeah, this could have been done completely in flat and it wouldn't be that different of a game, except for the perspective, which I do appreciate. And a good game's a good game, so I'm going to take it. So I was happy there. And that was today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. These were definitely some unique games that impressed me, but I'd love to hear your feedback down in the comments. Like normal, I'll see you guys on next time.